Hello, Earth sign. Princess MD here. Welcome to your mid-February reading. I'm calling them general, but whatever comes out, comes out. So I'm going to do Capricorn first, then Taurus, and then Virgo. So we're starting with Cappies. I'm going to take a minute of your time because I'm late. So I ain't even got no announcement. It's all in the description box below. You know? So anywho, I'm going to pick an overall energy from my, I don't even know what you call this. It's all my oracle decks in one deck. It's not all of my oracles because I have a lot of oracle decks, but it's, some of them in a deck. And then the full moon's today, so the air sign readings were quite interesting. So I'm sure that you guys will be just as revealing, So we're going to ask Spirit to give us clear and direct guidance for Capricorn. So anything that Capricorn needs to know, Spirit, that's of utmost importance, I ask that come to the forefront in this reading. So give me an overall energy for Capricorn, please, Spirit. Whoa. Interesting. Support. People come into your life for many different reasons. Some you learn from, and then they move on, while others return, often because you need to learn more from those individuals. Others remain beside you throughout your entire life. Interesting. Understanding the seasons of change and how that interrelates with others and your relationships with others. It reminds me of the thing my granny used to say, that people come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. So I'm going to pick, I'm going to do a general spread and see what comes up. So we're going to look at central energy, challenge, past influence. What's before you, what's above you, and what's below you, Capricorn. So our central energy is, from now until March, is the Four of Swords. Taking a little rest and retreat. It's challenged by the King of Wands. I feel like there's an inner conflict. This, of course, can go one or two ways. I don't know why the first thing that comes to my mind is almost like a slave driving boss, but then that boss could also be yourself. So it could more or less be feeling the need to rest and recover, but then feeling challenged by expectations and obligations and things that you need to do, and that causing an inner conflict. Your past influence is the Five of Wands. That's my ceasefire card. Your below energy is the Seven of Cups. What's above you is the Temperance card. And what's before you is the Empress. Absolutely. So the thing is here, it's needing to surrender to rest, to be quite honest. It's more or less feeling a sense of unrest because it's a thought. It's you knowing that you need to chill, right? From what it is that you've just been through, I don't know why I feel the sense of being very dramatic, like feeling as if I need to say, like, you just got out of the fight for your life. Not in a literal sense, more in a proverbial sense, but whatever you just came out of was like hell in a handbasket. I just wanted to say in a handbasket, but it's really just like hell, So it's something where you felt as if you needed to fight alone. And maybe not even felt as if you needed to fight alone. It's like literally fighting alone. Standing up for what you believe in. But now it's like that time is over. And there's a need for self-care, for rest, for recovery, to recalibrate, to reconfigure who I am, what I'm doing, where I'm going. A little bit of soul searching, you know, needing to refine my center. And I'm saying mine, meaning yours, right? But the challenge is that driving force that um, the beauty of Western civilization, the idealism that our worth and value is intricately tied into our ability to produce like workhorses. It's like if you're not doing something and flossing while you're doing it, what are you really doing? Type of deal. And that's what I mean by slave driving yourself. It's kind of like those nights you go to bed and you wake up and find you haven't rested. And it's because you were thinking about your to-do list as you went to sleep that you inadvertently found yourself thinking about your to-do list while you were sleeping. So you never actually rested, right? And it's almost being consumed by that feeling, you know? With the Seven of Cups and your below energy, your subconscious influence, like that's the illustration to me of like feeling as if you're sleeping and not resting. And the whole significance to all of this is to drive home the necessity of resting, right? So it's more or less Capricorn being in a recovery phase. And then for others of you, the King of Wands can symbolize a person in your life. It could be someone who's trustworthy, someone that you can rely on, someone who, okay, someone who's willing to be there for you, someone who is a support system, like someone you know that you can call on. And the challenge may be a tad bit of pride, not like evil, maniacal, megalomaniac kind of pride, but you know, a little bit of self-pride of a false core belief that states that me asking for help means I'm weak, and thinking that, you know, you can handle it all on your own. But it's the necessity to tug on that support system right now. Those lifetime people that you have that have stuck with you through thick and thin and may even have been played intricate roles in supporting you in this past conflict. It's the need to say, hey, this is a lot for me right now. Can you pick up the kids from daycare? You know? Or whatever it is that you need assistance with. Just to give yourself time to truly, you know, recover. Don't just think you can take a mental health day and lay in the bed and obsess and worry about things and call that recovery and rest. It's not that type of thing. It's a need to, with temperance and with the Seven of Cups, it's a need to really dig deep here. And it's almost like diving into that depth to find that true strength in that sturdy foundation of who you are. And that being what's going to clear out all of these options that are constantly spinning in your head. You know? I mean, I could get really deep with this and say this is almost like a personal ascension in some ways. So it's more or less going through this molting process. And then on the other side of it, you'll emerge as the Empress. But the thing that I feel is imperative for me to drive home here is this need to rest and recover in the truest sense, you know, not in a superficial mental health day sense. But this is like, you know, really going deep. Hopefully that makes sense. Ah, just realized you can see my knee. My bad. I hope that doesn't weird you out. Ha! I know you are kidding me. Recovery. And communicate clearly. It is okay for you to ask for what you want. If you feel overwhelmed, know that you can say that you feel overwhelmed. People who truly care about you will be there for you at the drop of a hat. I really feel some type of way that my knee just been sitting here chilling. Y'all didn't even say nothing. Not like you could actually say anything. But yeah, man, but it's a need to recover and to reach out to your support system. Communicate clearly. Say what it is that you need. How it is that you need, desire, or want people to show up for you, you know? And to not disguise that and not hide that, Capricorn. So now we're moving on to Taurus. Let me write down, what is that? 1026. Because I'm going to timestamp this. Because I'm a nice person. That has absolutely nothing to do with timestamping. It's just, you know, I'm going to be a good human today. So anywho, moving on to Taurus. Let's get an overall energy for my Taurians. Spirit, please give me clear and direct guidance for my Taurians. Please, Spirit, for the middle of February. Going into March. Anything that they need to know. Anything that's of utmost importance. Anything that they need clarity or guidance on, Spirit. I ask that come to the forefront in this reading. Please give me the ability to interpret these messages in a clear and concise manner. And I thank you in advance, Spirit, because I know you're good for it. Overall energy for Taurus. Middle of February going into March. And there we are. Isn't this a familiar card? Surrender, denial. I need to drink some water. That's not me being extra. My throat's literally dry. Hashtag throat chakra. Hashtag Taurus problems. I'm hilarious today, aren't I? Accept people and situations exactly as they are, without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. Interesting. Best place to make decisions from, I kid you not. Like with the Seven of Cups that Capricorn had, it's the necessity of clearing that out to really look at the bare bones of what you're really dealing with. That's the only, like, that's ground zero, the best place to ever make a true decision. Not on what could be quite possibly, you know, what we would like it to be ideally. But it's really taking a sober glance at circumstances and present situations and making a decision from what is as opposed to what we would rather or what we would desire other than what is. So it's almost like taking a stance of harsh truth with yourself, you know? So instead of hoping for things to get better, okay, that's too many cards that fell out. All right, Spirit. Let me get a central energy for Taurus. Central energy challenge. What's behind you, what's before you, what's above you, and what is below you, Taurus, for mid-February. Going into March. Central energy. The Queen of Cups. My therapist card. My therapist card. I don't think it's a therapist, though. Oh, of course this will fall on the floor. Oh, man. Ugh. Never fails. Never fails. Ooh, that's a good card. Okay, so anywho, I don't think it's the therapist card. I think it's sorting oneself out would be the first thing. So it's more or less if you think about, did I show it to you? I don't know. Right? So in the traditional Rider-Waite, the Queen of Cups is staring at this, you know, gaudy looking trophy thing that's holding her feelings. So I'm in possession of them and I know that you're here, you know? But it's like, I won't take the lid off. Here she's taking the lid off. So I look at this as a person sorting themselves out, right? So it's removing the lid and looking at what is behind, you know, even though removing the lid and then looking behind a veil kind of doesn't go together, but whatever, vibe with me, man. It's early. So anywho, it's really digging in and almost taking a personal inventory. It is electing to submerge oneself into their emotional world, right? Sorting oneself out as opposed to looking at them, all pristine and put together, all neat and whatnot. It's really digging in and seeing what we're really dealing with, right? This is challenged by the Hermit. So doing such emotional work, and this is something that was discussed in the weekly reading, so if you haven't watched that, I would suggest that you do. I'm not telling you what to do. You don't have to. Don't listen to me, But anyway. But we talked about this in the sense of how when we're coping with things, especially things in an emotional sense, or if we dig deep into our emotions and we're not sure how to sort them out or what we're really looking at, right? Because it's very possible to lack an emotional vocabulary, So I can feel things, I can know that I'm feeling things, but if one does not possess an emotional vocabulary, it's difficult to communicate what one is feeling, right? In that case, that's when your friendly local neighborhood therapist comes in handy, But other than that, it's more or less the challenge of knowing when to retreat and when to reach out, right? And I'm seeing this in the sense if one finds themselves in a position where it's easy to play mind games, right? Where if you have trouble sorting through your emotions, you could take the lid off and you can look at them and, start to feel a tad bit overwhelmed and put the lid back on and say, I'm fine. Everything's good. No, good. Totally good. Everything's great. Everything's grand, right? If you know that you have a tendency to do that, then instead of going within and isolating oneself, it would be to reach out, like with Capricorn, to your support system, to your tribe, to your community, to your family, to your friendly local neighborhood therapist, to help you sort through those emotions. But from the middle of February going into March, that's the process that Taurus is going to be in, which is of utmost importance. It's a need to face the truth. It's to not glaze over. It's to not swallow the emotions, to not put whipped cream on shit, for lack of better words. It's to really look at what you're dealing with and to be honest with yourself. And if there are adjustments that need to be made, if there's expressions that need to be expressed, if there are truths that need to be spoken, if there are tears that need to be cried, right? It's allowing oneself to do that. And reaching on your support system if necessary, right? And if you don't have one, it's reaching out to someone who can assist you with that. But it's not turning back around, putting the lid on, and then isolating oneself until the smoke clears, Like putting on, it's because I'm saying this repetitively because I sense that there's a pattern here. And when I say putting whipped cream on shit, it's like that being the pathology, Like that being the go-to thing. It's like I feel uncomfortable stuff. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. And it's like I'm just going to cover it up and smile and keep it pushing. So it's like the strong friend complex, so to speak. It's like needing to surrender denial in the sense of being the person, and even looking at the Hermit with it being Virgo traits. No offense to Virgos. But I know Virgos have a tendency to struggle with perfectionism and the need to keep the pristine image in an external sense. It's like I'm like Virgos can't just slide past here and be like, wait, I heard my name. Yeah, I'm talking about you. But anyway, but keeping this pristine image And so much can be occurring behind that veneer. And I feel that that's where the denial lies. It's not denial in relation to other people. It's denial within oneself, right? And this is something I can say. I can be, what would be the word? Gosh, this is so unfamiliar for me. I can be open and vulnerable in this moment. And say that's a realization that I came to earlier. It was a question one of my mods asked me. And it was like something, I don't remember what the question was exactly. Um, but it was specifically directed towards me. But as opposed to, I think it was instead of the context or the essence of the question was more or less a question posed where, as opposed to me being in service to others, it's more or less an other being in service to me. And that caught me off guard. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I had to admit, I was like, that's interesting. I'm like, that is a very good process question. Because I said, I didn't expect you to ask me that. I didn't expect you to pose that question that way. Because that's literally how you kind of get to the root of something. So it's more or less the denial of self, and it's surrendering that self-denial. It's surrendering the refusal to acknowledge one's own pain or loneliness or fear, anger, resentment, bitterness, to accept that, to embrace it so that you can heal and integrate it, right? Because the card that fell, your below energy, is the World. And what better card that states transformation, integration, and new cycles and what's not, or whatever. Business that is finished, Past influence is the Eight of Pentacles. How appropriate. This is so appropriate for Tauruses, I just can't even. For some, it's working to divert one's attention. So for some of you, it's denial through work. It's keeping busy. It's like, let me keep doing stuff so I don't have to face the emotional stuff, right? But then for others of you, I feel a sense of spinning one's wheels. Ooh, let me turn these over. The Page of Swords is your above energy, and what's before you, how appropriate, is the Devil. Now, I don't necessarily see this as bondage. It's funny. I see this as a good bondage, but I'm going to clarify it just to be sure. But I see this in a sense, it's like, how am I seeing this? It's like fear. It's fear. It's fear, but it's I'm trying to get the words for this. Is it internalized that I'm trying to say? It's an internalized, but it's like almost ownership. Like, this is my life. This is what this is, It's this is what the challenge is presently, which is a completely different space. It's coming out of the 3D tangible world and coming into the world of emotions. So that is a challenge within itself. But underneath it all, and I'm seeing this so cyclical, it's like underneath it all, it's a feeling and a desire for newness, right? So it's almost that optimism you have, like where you just know without the shadow of a doubt, even though there's no tangible evidence that things are about to change and get better for you. So it's almost like that feeling is in your belly, coming out of a time where it's just, either working to divert from one's emotions or using work as escapism to prevent one from having to do this work that's sitting in front of one's face, right? But at the same time, it's a need for like a maturation of thought, because it's almost like a primal perception in the sense that it's very black and white, it's very extreme. You know, it's either everything is all the way bad, like the devil, like it's all the way bad, or things are overly idealized. And that's how that's internalized. And one takes ownership of it because that's a perception that places one in an ever-present double bind, because the highest heights for which one reaches can never be obtained because they are too overly optimistic, right? And then the depths or the disappointment that one attempts to escape are so completely low and just degraded and dark, right? That it's like it's constantly living in this bondage and in this fear that keeps you here more often than not, because the ideal goal is so completely out of reach. Like, I mean, out of this world, out of reach, you know, that one can't have a choice but to end up here. So it's more or less, this becomes my reality. So kind of tying this into what I was saying of this being like cyclical in nature. It's almost like this immature thought pattern of extremes. All good, all bad, black, white, good, evil. There not being a gray area in between, you know? And it's like not sorting through emotions. It's almost a lot of things that have hung around well past their expiration date. Like unresolved traumas, unresolved feelings, unexpressed anger. And this feeling like home. Because that's all it can ever be. You know? That's all it can ever be. Because you ultimately always end up there. But to me, it's coming to the realization, or seeing, like we said in the weekly reading, that these chains are loose and can be taken off at any time. Like, you have the keys. You're only here because you're choosing to be. And you choose to be here because the goal, and this is not an, accusatory type of thing. This is just, illustrative. But it's more or less, one is choosing to be here and to make this their ground zero, because the only way out of it is its polar opposite. And its polar opposite is something that it's like a goal that's impossible to reach. So the question then becomes, why would one set a goal that's impossible to reach? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the literal doing too much. It's like you'd run yourself crazy trying to obtain this height. So you have no choice but to remain in bondage, right? So it's more or less a self-victimization. But I feel like this is more kind of subconscious, because it sounds to me like this is something a person wouldn't realize that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like it's for your highest good, and the fact that it keeps bringing you back down to ground zero, because the whole purpose of that was to face the emotions. Because I even believe of course, black and white thinking is a maladaptive thought pattern. Like it's a coping mechanism, a survival skill. So that lets me know this is related to trauma somehow. So it was a need to classify things as black and white making those snap decisions to keep one safe, but it's needing to realize you aren't here anymore. So it's one or the other. It's either I'm limiting my experience in the fact that I'm classifying everything as black or white. When I feel something uncomfortable, I utilize escapism, right? Like I use something to divert away from this work that needs to be done, or I'm isolating myself from everyone else. But it's almost like creating blocks to every way out. And then still wondering why these seasons come and go of feeling, oh, I feel that things are about to shift, but they never do. You know? And like I say, the way things all work out in your favor is in the fact, the reason why this devil being here, it keeps bouncing you back to this Queen of Cups, which is needing to sort through these emotions. Right? Needing to go within and sort through these emotions, or go to therapy, or, you know, whatever, however that works for you, you know? But it's showing you how many times before it's been a denial by utilizing different distractions to prevent you from doing this work. So the thing becomes now where, you know, the scales are removed and the blinders are taken off, is in the fact that we're just going to continue this dance. We're going to continue this dance until you choose to do this work. And you still don't have to do it. It's all on you. Integrity. What a beautiful card. Align your actions so that they match your values and inner knowingness of what is right for you. The only way you can ever be a person of integrity is by first needing to know what's best for you, which means some level of me needs to know me, right? I need to know what I value. What are my values? If you don't know, I have a worksheet that's free on my website about it, right? But a person who walks in integrity or lives a life of integrity is a person whose external actions, doings, speakings, behaviors, all of these things align with an inner truth. But you can never have integrity. You can never act in alignment with your truth if you don't first know it. Right? That's what the Queen of Swords represents. It's no longer denying myself the greatest gift of all, which is knowing myself. Knowing who I am, what I'm about, what I stand for, what I stand against. You know? What feels right to me, what doesn't. What I desire, what I don't. And these are the most simplistic things that we oftentimes overlook because in the external world, there's so many things that we need to focus on and do. We're human doings instead of beings. It's always go, 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 go. Mastery, money, achieving, accolades, you know? Needing to always produce, produce, produce. You know? And it's like in all of that, we can create an idealistic depiction of ourselves and still not know the first thing about ourselves, right? That's what's imperative for Taurus going into March. Because this new cycle that you're desiring, you won't be prepared for it, nor would you ever know. And I say this not even just for Taurus. This is a person cross-watching a Taurus, whatever. It's like, if you don't know who you are, what you want, the greatest gift of your life could have been staring you in the face for the last 10 years and you wouldn't have recognized it because you never knew what it is that you wanted to begin with. You know? So how could you know? You think you would know. But if you don't really know what you're looking for, you know? That's my lecture for today. I don't know how we ended up being so long. What is this? 34, 22. Virgo. Totally not because I'm a Taurus. All right. So my Virgos, let's get your overall energy. Overall energy For my Virgos, please, Spirit. Well, that slipped out. Surrender your desire to control people. How appropriate. That's no shade, Virgo. All right. Let me get another overall energy for my Virgos for February going into March, please, Spirit. Surrender your desire to control people. Being overly controlling can sabotage relationships. To more effectively achieve your goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some breathing room. What are you controlling for? Not necessarily controlling people in the ego, maniacal, megalomaniac way, but needing people to fit a certain mold. Why is there a desire for that? Oh, this is interesting. We have very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now in romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. Ooh, interesting. So this kind of sounds to me like some old world residue, Virgo. Like little woundings that you got from past experiences or past relationships, wanting to control people either to fit a mold or a certain look, or wanting to control people out of fear, like a desire to keep people at a certain distance, right? To keep oneself safe. This is an imperative thing to take care of now. How wonderful. Central energy, we have the Empress. This is something imperative to take care of now because it looks to be that a person is going to be coming into your life. A romantic partner, Virgo. A romantic partner. Tag nabbit, son of a gun, I said. Challenge what's behind you, what's before you, what's above you, and what is below you. So it seems as though a person is coming into your life very soon. Soon and very soon. And there's a need to kind of get to the root of what this is about. But I don't really think that you need to literally, in action terms, get to the root of what this is about. Because I feel like with this wonderful full moon in Virgo, with you being Virgo and all, I think it's going to be revealed to you. So central energy is the Empress, challenged by, how appropriate, the Ten of Pentacles. Past influence, oh goodness, is the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, y'all got to love reading Tag Nabbit, son of a gun. Below energy, look at you, the Hermit. What's above you? Good Lord, the Nine of Cups. Are y'all about to have the best reading in this piece? And going forward, you have the Tower. That's your control issues. This is wonderful. I could tell you this quick and easy, Virgo, you know. So, when we talk about inner work, which is something we talked about with Taurus, right? I feel like you guys got a spotlight on every single thing that's wrong with you. Every single thing in your life, in your mind, in your spirit, smudges on your soul, cracks in your heart. Y'all know all them daddies, and y'all got a list, you know? And you've been working through that list for a long time. So can't nobody tell Virgo about Virgo, because look, I know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with you, though? It's the vibe I get, right? But the whole thing is now, I feel like you guys have spent so much time focusing on yourself. You want to focus on somebody else now. Somebody that you can love and build a future with, a foundation with. A kindred spirit, a person of like mind, like morals and ethics, values, things of the sort, right? So this is what I feel like you guys are calling into your life, and I feel like you are going to get it. Right? If you haven't already, because seeing the Ace of Pentacles in the past tense, and then for others of you, this may have been like a job offer. So it could have been a job offer, a promotion, increase in finances, or what have you. Something that came into your life in the recent past that gave you more of this sense of stability and abundance, that put you in this place where I've worked on myself, right? The stuff I still need to work on, I'm aware of it. I have the list. And I'm actively working on those things, right? So it's feeling a level of confidence and abundance, and feeling as if you were in a place to where now it's okay for you to be in a relationship, right? Having that sense of stability. So it's wanting to share your abundance with someone else, right? So I feel like you guys have been spending a lot of time thinking about this. I feel like that may be the only thing you truly feel is missing in your life is emotional fulfillment with a partner, right? Or even the desire to like start a family, you know? But the thing is here, I don't know who this person is or what they're about or what it is they're going to do to knock this out of you. And I should clarify this before I start creeping y'all out too much. But it's the sense that I'm getting with this person. I don't really feel like I don't feel like they're gonna be with you. I don't feel like they're gonna be what you expect, because the way that I'm seeing this is like not in a sense of a false sense of security, but it's almost like, because I have a Virgo bestie, and it's like Virgos play it safe in a different way than us Taurians do, you know. Like us Taurians, like we're gonna build like a little corner in the corner and say that that's our safe space. You know, like, because we're here. It's like there's no pointy objects, there's nothing sharp. We're safe here, right? With Virgo, it's slightly different, you know, because it'll be like a maze of protection that extends out into the external world. So it's more or less like seeing this tower with it not being destroyed, like just the tower within itself, that being almost like the bodysuit that Virgo would confine themselves to going out into the world, right? You know what I'm saying? But and that's like the sense of control, because it's controlling other people, and that's why I say in a non-megalomaniac sense, because it's not like manipulation and control, but it's controlling how other people can and cannot interact with you based on how it is you're showing up, you know? Because if I have this tower suit on, it's only so close you can get, you know? The ways that you're going to respond to me is going to be different because I have on my tower suit. So although it would be trying to get an authentic reaction from another person to you because you're showing up guarded, you know, as maybe an idealized sense of oneself, or a very, you know, poker face version of oneself, it prevents another from ever really getting to know you. So it could be a history of not understanding why you can't connect with people, but it's because never having shown up as oneself. So how could one connect with you? So it's slightly like kind of the opposite with Taurus, because it's like you guys know what the issues are, right? And you've gotten to whatever place it is that you want to be, that you feel is right for you to bring another person in. But it's kind of like what's superseding all of this and what has always prevented you from ever being able to have this. Because it's almost like this thing, like I'm getting a sense like a person who says, like, you know, I don't need to get married or have kids until I'm making like $170,000 a year. I have a house in this particular gated neighborhood. I drive this particular type of car. And then when I get to this position at this job, then I'll be ready, right? So it's like having done all of that and then realizing like, well, it's cool that you did all of that, but let me take you back to the reason why that, you know, this tower was there in the first place. So this stuff is dope and cool. It's great that you've done work and you know the other things you need to work on. But none of that was what was preventing you from meeting the right person or aligning with the right person. It was this tower. So we're going to go ahead and knock that down. What is the tower about, Spirit? Ha! Exactly what I'm talking about. The Seven of Swords. Man, it's showing up falsely. So it's a little self-sabotatory energy. It's like almost wanting to, I want to know who I'm dealing with before you really know me on some stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then even that can fall into intimidation as well. Like a person feeling intimidated by you because of what you're projecting. And in reality, you may not be that straight edge, but it's just because it's a defense mechanism. You know what I mean? Trying to control people's perception of you. But the thing that's just so tricky about that is when we attempt to control other people's perception of us, we're attempting to project to them what we think they want to see and never really finding out what it is that they really want to see. So it can be going on a never-ending journey of attempting to fix every flaw that you think would put you in the right place to be a candidate for someone, and realizing, and I think under this full moon energy, realizing that it's like you was already straight. You never really had to do all of that. If anything, you made it more complicated. So it's more or less all of those defenses that were built up, it's allowing those to crumble and to start showing up in a more authentic way. Because I think this approach, which is a defense mechanism, that's why I say it's not anything malicious, but it's like this approach that you guys had been taking for a while has actually been taking you farther away from what you want as opposed to taking you closer to it. But all of this is based in a fear, you know, of like not being good enough, or feeling this, and I know that's a Virgo thing, the perfectionism, like feeling this need to be perfect. But I feel like this person that's coming in is going to show you how unnecessary that is. And not in a forceful sense. I think it's because of them just being them. And it's like you seeing them just being them, like naked in the proverbial sense, like naked heart, like literally what the reading is called this week. Being vulnerable, being open, being abundant, being free, not really caring so much about what that looks like presentation wise. And I think you guys seeing that liberation and that freedom and wanting to experience that, right? And releasing it, you know? 3 cards fell out for y'all, but I'm going to see if another one comes out. Since the Earth sign reading is over, can we get one more card for Virgo, please, Spirit? Anything else that Virgo needs to know from now? Going into March. I have morning face. I hope my morning face doesn't look weird. Virgo would tell me. I love y'all. No, Spirit? No Oracle? Oh, that one. Yeah. And this one. Y'all got 2. Y'all got buku. Oh, wow. You have the 6 of Cups at the bottom of your deck, so this is soulmate love. Soulmate love. What's wrong with me? Oh, why the hell I had to just, why didn't just leave, why didn't leave the cards where they was at? I should have left them where they was at. No, Princess, just don't want to put another card for Virgo. I'm taking this out the deck. I'm taking this out of the deck after this. You understand me? The answer to your question involves a spiritually based romantic relationship. Moving on, passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy, because you got a soulmate, romantic feelings very soon, release of control issues, Empress, 6 of Cups, and so on and so forth with the forbidden word. I love your face, Virgo. Thank you for, starting my day off proper. It's probably an Aries because they're the last ones that got that card. Virgo. I love your face, Virgo, and other earth signs that are still watching. Deuces.